Hi, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to the JumpStart Sports Show. Jason Kopp here, along with my main man on our Steph Curry episode, Steven Shoemaker. Do I get copyrighted if I do that too?
Well, technically it's our singing, so I don't think it is. We need a hyper intro other than the how does the Jumpstart Sports jingle go?
I don't know.
I can't even sing it.
Let me look it up.
It's a great one though. You could play that one. That's we have rights to that.
Is it on a Spotify? I don't even think the Spotify people get to enjoy it.
They should be able to. But yeah, I mean, on this beautiful Tuesday morning, I'm in a great mood, Jay. Okay. Coming from the East Coast. Welcome the east side of the East Coast, or maybe it's the north side, but coming from Philadelphia as a sports fan, because this is a sports podcast, I'm in all kinds of happiness right now. We got the only undefeated team in the NFC in the Philadelphia Eagles.
You say the only in the league?
In the NFC.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
The Flyers won their postseason opener. James Harden dropped 100 pounds. And the Phillies are still in the hunt for Red October, so I don't see any reason why you shouldn't come to Philly and become a Philly sports fan, Jay. That's all I'm saying. A lot of good things are happening over here.
I care too much about myself to be a Philly fan. I don't want to be universally hated.
You kind of just embrace it.
I know. I know well because a certain someone sings a song like everyone hates us.
God,
and I say no one gives a fuck about you. Really, it's your anyway. So we had some more football. I'm getting really excited that the basketball season's also coming up soon. That'll be super fun.
Yeah, I got so hyped when they were taking their what do you call it? I forgot what the exact word is, but they're just taking their pictures. Yeah, their photos. And Zion was with CJ. I was like, that's going to be a show this year. They probably still won't be very good, but it'll be a lot of fun to watch with Zion finally back out there.
And Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, it'll be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they look good. Or I guess on paper. and physically, they look good. But yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm really excited for the basketball season that's coming up in only a few weeks now.
I wanted to get your opinion on kind of going into the season real quickly, just some of the team favorites. And I guess the first thing that comes to mind for me, I wanted to get your opinion on was, what do you make of the whole Ime Udoka situation, and what does that mean for the Celtics going into this year?
Yeah, that's a tricky situation. We still don't know exactly what happened, but there was a consensual relationship with someone else in the front office, or he was cheating on his wife or something like that. And Matt Barnes, if you saw that, do you see this on Twitter? He came out on Twitter and was like, there's a lot more to the story that people don't know, which would make this way worse than it is.
Sure.
So, I don't know. I feel like it's probably happened before, but I can't remember a situation that was like a consensual relationship with someone in the front office. Like, I feel like it's usually much worse than that. So I feel like there has to be more to the story.
I was going to say,
end of the year,
rules are rules at the end of the day, and just the whole situation seems a little odd to me. How he has a consensual relationship with somebody. Obviously, he's like a scumbag for cheating on his wife.
Yeah,
but like you said, there's got to be some details we don't know about, because it seems a little odd to me. Like I said, at the end of the day, rules are rules, but to be suspended an entire season for having a consensual relationship with somebody, it's kind of like one of those things, you don't sleep with your coworker. And if they find out, I'm pretty sure most places would fire you for that. So it makes sense. But at the same time, for, just the NBA as a league and how highly respected it is, how well known it is for a head coach to get fired for a consensual relationship seems a little odd to me. And he didn't get fired; he just got suspended for the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if more details come out that he could have coached his last game for the Celtics.
There's definitely more here. I mean, first of all, obviously Matt Barnes knows something, but yeah, I think, like you said, it just doesn't really add up. Like, sure, he's a scumbag and his wife should divorce his ass immediately, but I don't get why. Like, there has to be more there. There's no reason that he would be suspended an entire year unless it was actually really bad. Not that that's acceptable, but I'm just saying, like, they're sexual assault allegations that are less of a suspension. So it's not that two wrongs make a right.
Yeah,
I'm digging myself into a hole here, but
yeah, I don't think it really impacts their team that much. They're still a really good team regardless of who's coaching it. Definitely not the way they wanted to start their year off after losing in the championship.
Yeah,
not the way you want to approach the incoming season. But
well, they also lost Danilo Gallinari while he was playing overseas. That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, they made a lot of great offseason moves. Malcolm Brogdon, Gallinari, but
you see, what's his name? Robert Williams is also hurt and should be out 6 to 8 weeks. Or something
he's
like
having trouble staying healthy, but they definitely need the Tatum and Brown show is going to do their thing again this year. They'll definitely be Eastern Conference contenders once again.
They're still going to be great.
They do need one more piece though, kind of like the Sixers in a way. They're just like one really good player away from being a championship contending team. What do you make of Jimmy Butler's hairdo? I think that's just so whack.
He looks like a WNBA star. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I think he's just doing it to troll people. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. It's whatever.
They're going to be good again this year. The Heat.
They'll be a very good team, like they always are. If Kyle Lowry plays any decent, like, they'll be better.
I think like the Sixers will be good, the Heat will be good, and I think really the biggest team to watch out for, based off how poorly they ended last year, for me, is the Nets. Just going into this year with Kyrie and KD, who like were so close to leaving that organization, and now they're just like they're making the best of it. Ben Simmons is finally going to play, which will be interesting to watch. And you saw that Kyrie turned down was $100 million contract because he didn't want to get vaccinated from the Nets.
I didn't see that. Yeah. That doesn't surprise. He's an idiot. I hate Kyrie Irving.
They're easily the most hated team in the NBA.
Yeah, you can hate every one of them. Everyone hates Durant because he's a snake, and went to an already loaded and historic team to win a championship. Then
Ben Simmons is a triple B.
Right, but everyone hates Ben Simmons, which makes sense. And Kyrie Irving calls himself a martyr for not getting vaccinated. And he's like, I'm speaking up for the speechless. Shut the fuck up. Like, no, you're not. You're just an idiot.
A good idiot at basketball.
He's a good stupid bitch at basketball.
Oh my.
Sorry, I really don't like him. He really is like unbelievably talented. Jokes aside, he is one of the best point guards in the league when he's playing. So they end with Joe Harris coming back and Claxton healthy.
Yeah,
they can make some noise.
I think it's like if you look at it in tiers, it's like Celtics, Heat, Sixers. Those are like the top three. That's like the first tier, and then below that's like the Nets.
Bucks. I put the Bucks up there.
Yeah, you could put the Bucks up there too.
Middleton healthy.
I'd probably put Bucks, Heat, Celtics as the first tier. Then the second tier is like Sixers, Nets. I don't know how else you'd put in there, like in that second tier.
Maybe. Well, actually, you know what's kind of interesting? What is going on with Miles Bridges?
He was having like a lot of, I don't know if it was like a domestic abuse.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just did nothing came of that, right?
But I just know his like future with the Hornets is definitely uncertain.
Like, did nothing happen from that? Oh, the Hawks will probably be pretty good this year. Oh, the Cavaliers,
But
they'll
yeah,
be up there.
they'll be in that second tier, I think, with the
Yeah,
Sixers.
the Raptors somehow are always in that tier.
Yeah, they're a good team with like Siakam and Barnes and Van Fleet,
They're
but
so well coached.
I'd probably put like the Sixers, the Cavs, the Nets in in that second tier, and then that third tier is like the Raptors, the Bulls, the Hawks, the
Yeah,
Knicks, and then the
I
Hornets
think
are
the
right
Knicks
there
could
too.
be low key much better than people think. Not
I
like they'll
think,
be amazing, but I think
yeah,
they
I
could
think
be a
they could
40
easily
win
be
team.
a playoff team.
I think they could definitely be like. I mean, if you think about it, it's really this is going to be the year. How much of a step up? Because as much as I hate him, Julius Randle still averaged like very solid numbers. If RJ Barrett takes another step forward, it's really all the young guys. Like that's what it is.
Mm,
If Quentin Grimes can continue quickly and Obi Toppin, that'll be probably the biggest catalyst.
mm-hmm.
Mitchell Robinson can make a freaking free throw. That would be cool. He apparently is trying to practice threes. It's like all right,
Yeah, that
for
doesn't
sure.
help.
I like Jalen Brunson. I thought was something that they've needed, not as a primary scorer, but a solid, stable point guard that they've never had in a long time.
Yeah, well, excited for the NBA to start off, but let's talk some football. I said we quickly just recap this
Thursday.
past week and some of the top stories, and then we can look ahead to next week and
Okay.
some exciting games coming up. But yeah, starting off as we expected out of that Steelers Browns game, just not a very exciting game to watch. Two not so good teams. The Browns, like, they played pretty well. They're doing what they can with like Chubb taking over. Amari Cooper's finally stepping it up. But Jacoby Brissett's just not a great quarterback, and a
Yeah.
very different team they will be come Week 12 with Deshaun Watson out there. But they're just not an exciting team to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah. They're not good.
On the Browns end, Myles Garrett got in that car accident.
It was apparently to dodge an animal, and he flipped the car multiple
Yeah,
times. So
that's
we'll see if
scary.
he's healthy.
Not a big fan
I
of
mean,
him, but obviously wishing him the best. Hope he's all right.
yeah, we'll see. I wonder if he'll be out this because it's non-life threatening injuries, but he was in the hospital. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe a week. And then the Steelers they just have nothing going for them. Like,
they're atrocious.
it's funny because I was working on the Matthew Berry show for my job, my old job, and Berry was talking about how come week 9, which is the Steelers bye week, Mike Tomlin will switch to Kenny Pickett. But I think it could happen much sooner than that because the Steelers are what, 1-2?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Trubisky's just not looking great out there. Like, he's not really hitting his receivers. Najee's not like being, he can't do everything. He's been doing fine so far this year, but the Steelers are definitely in trouble.
Yeah, they look a lot different. Wait, did he give you a shout out, Matt Berry? I watched the show and he said something, but he said Steven. I was like,
Not probably a different Steven.
I hate
that's one of my bosses, Steven. He was one of the producers.
Who the fuck could that be?
He spells his name with a PH, so he's not a real Steven. But
you can't trust those guys.
you can't.
Yeah, like you were saying, I mean, Mitch Trubisky didn't have a terrible day. Just looking at it, he was 20 for 32. But Najee is always. This is why I was so off Najee this year. He's super inefficient, and the offense is not good. So like, he got bailed out by that touchdown, but he was 15 for 56. It's like 3.7 a carry. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And he doesn't break off big runs either. So not to say he's a bad player, but he's just very inefficient. And why aren't they getting George Pickens involved? Like, I don't understand that at all. He's super talented. He had an unreal catch, which I'm sure you saw.
Yeah.
Where it looked like OBJ.
Yeah, Odell-esque.
And then they just didn't pass on the ball after that. Like, I guess he had 7 targets, but he was 3 for 39. Like, I feel like you can get him more involved. The Browns are making the most out of a horrible situation.
Yeah, they're what 2-1. Yeah, they're just right there at the Ravens. Obviously, very early in the year, but very competitive division. One of the more competitive divisions with the Browns, Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals.
More than we thought, I feel like. We'll get to that, but let's see. What's another game that happened? So that was the Thursday game. I was actually at the Yankee game when that was happening. I mean, I didn't give a shit about that game. Obviously, who cares about watching Jacoby Brisket against Mitchell Trubisky? But I saw the end play.
Yeah,
where I don't know why they all try to do this, but I thought it was so funny. Like they blew so many bets because of this. Because they hit on the over. Chase Claypool had like 30 something yards and then lost 5 because of it, and Najee fumbled, and the defense scored a touchdown. So great for me for fantasy, but I don't know if I would have won actually now looking at it without that. But I mean, that was a funny end. But let's move forward onto the actual Sunday slate. I will tell you. So my sister's boyfriend is doing this thing called Pickett. It's an app he created, which is basically it's like the name. You basically are picking which team wins. I almost got every single one wrong. This was a bad week for guessing. So speaking of, like, did you watch many of these games or like watch the replays? Obviously, you watched the Eagles game, but
yeah, I saw the highlights for most of them. I didn't get to watch the games, but like some of them were just really interesting. Like one probably, in my opinion, like just looking at the slate, like the game of the week was probably before the games happened was the Bills and at the Dolphins. Just two undefeated teams going at it, and most people, I don't know how heavily favored they were, but the Bills were obviously favored in that game. Tua goes down with a concussion, and he got rocked, which was like such a shame because all that happened was he just got pushed after the throw. And I don't think a penalty was called, but he just got shoved and he fell back and whacked his head, and then he like tried to get up and walk and fell right back down.
But
I think the Dolphins will be fine for that because I don't think they handled the concussion protocol properly.
I agree with you. I was gonna say, like they called it a back injury, which is like it's mind blowing to me. Like he was stumbling and it's all concussion symptoms, and I can't believe you put him back out there. And we know the Dolphins are kind of a sketchy organization after what happened this offseason.
Yeah, and it just like wasn't a very, very defensive game. Not a whole lot of offense. I mean, Josh Allen just keeps doing Josh Allen type things, threw for 400 yards, a couple touchdowns, but Diggs was pretty much kept in check for how he's been playing. Tyreek Hill was kept in check. Waddle had another good game, but just not a whole lot of offense. And then the ending of the game was just the most surprising part because just clock management was the key there. The Bills were driving down the field to try to secure a 22-21 victory. And I think what happened was I could be getting the player wrong, but Josh Allen connected with Isaiah McKenzie with like 15 seconds left, and he just didn't even get anywhere near going out of bounds, and they tackle him, no timeouts left, and the clock runs out before they can snap it. And it's just like football 101, like got to get out of bounds.
He also missed Isaiah McKenzie in the end zone. He threw it into the dirt, which is wild. And then I don't know if you saw this, but they came out with, there's a tweet that was like Josh Allen. They're like, if this was Tua and they flipped him to be lefty,
it worked just like Tua.
It just right. But no one cares when it's Josh Allen. It's really funny. Like the world is against Tua.
Oh yeah, big time.
It's pretty funny. I thought that was a crazy end to that game.
The Dolphins are looking pretty good.
Dolphins are pretty good. They're pretty
good. Undefeated team left in the AFC, and then this Thursday they're going up against the Bengals, which should be
one
of the better Thursday night football games.
Yeah, can you wait for the white Bengal jerseys?
That will be
so sick. Another shocking game in my eyes, Chiefs Colts. I mean, the Colts have looked horrendous.
Yeah.
Like horrendous. They tied the Texans, lost to the Jaguars in week 2. I kind of forget. I think it was the Jaguars last week.
Yeah. They got spanked.
And they got spanked. Jaguars look good in their own right, but we'll get to that. But yeah, it just came down to the very end. New York. It just came down to the very, very end, which was very surprising. Michael Pittman came back.
Mahomes didn't play really well.
Yeah, Mahomes threw a pick in the last drive, and game over. It was a surprising loss. I mean, the Chiefs do have some of these every year where it's just like they look like gimmies and they just lose very handedly. So, do you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York for you.
I love New York.
Another reason to move to Philly. No.
I get more for my space. It's true. I mean, after visiting my sister in Arlington, Virginia, I was like, wow, I hate my life. What a nice apartment she has. Shout out your apartments. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, so that was really surprising. Also, Jonathan Taylor has not played that well this year. Very surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, week 1 he played really well. He had like 160 rushing yards, but the past 2 weeks he's been kept in check.
I guess just to the standard that we're used to.
Yeah. But yeah, the Colts just aren't a good team. I mean, they have like they live and die by JT and Michael Pittman, but other than them two, Matt Ryan just does not look good on his new team.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's not look great. I mean, they just look horrendous. Like their defense hasn't looked that good. And you would think they'd be way better too. They were so good last year.
But it's just a game that the Chiefs should have easily won. And then they have a tough one this week. Pretty sure it's the first time these teams are playing since the Super Bowl 2 years ago. But the Chiefs are playing the Bucs, and that'll be a fun game to watch.
That'll be a cool game. And we're gonna get Mike Evans back. Julio should be back. Maybe Godwin, but I wouldn't count on it. So it'll be fun. That'll be a good game to watch. Carlton Davis against I don't know. I guess MVS, Juju, Tyreek Hill. Sorry, not Tyreek Hill. He comes back from Miami for one more game.
Yeah, we'll see. But just like look at another game that was interesting to me. I mean, the Bengals 0-2. They didn't start off the season that well, but the Jets just are getting too much hype. I don't know why they get so much hype, but the Bengals handled them really easily. And then the game that was interesting to me was the Titans at Raiders, 2 0-2 teams going at it, and Derrick Henry finally showed up. And what do you make of the Raiders? Like is it Derek Carr? Is it just the coaching? Like I thought they had a lot of good things coming this year for them with Josh McDaniel, new head coach, Devontae Adams, who's been great. But after week 1, he's been kind of kept in check. He's had touchdowns in all 3 games, but they just don't look good. They're not getting Waller involved. I didn't really expect much from Josh Jacobs going into the year.
Waller missed so I don't know if you saw the highlight of this, but right at the end of the game, the Raiders are making a push, and Waller had one that goes right through. It like hit his hands and went off his hands. He should have caught it, and it was intercepted, which ultimately ended the game. I don't know what to make of that. Honestly, the Raiders have not looked good. I don't really know if you're supposed to attribute that to Josh McDaniels, but Hunter Renfro's hurt right now, but they're just, their offensive line we knew was terrible, but I don't know. Like they look really bad. And that was a game they needed to win. The Titans don't have a great, they have a decent defense, but if you lose to the Giants, you can't really say much. And the Raiders should have done more. It's very surprising. And I guess we could just go right into this one also. We're kind of skipping around, but this is AFC West. I cannot believe how bad the Broncos are. They barely got the win. They look so bad. The AFC West being this whatever, like unbelievable division that we all thought that they were going to be is just not happening.
This game was just atrocious because the final was 11-10, and at the end of the third quarter, the score was 7-5 to the 49ers.
Yeah.
And it's just like no offense. Garoppolo didn't look good. Russell Wilson's looked horrible. Like, you see on the Peyton and Eli cast. I don't know if you're watching last night, but Eli goes, they should have paid like their punter. The Broncos should have paid that punter all the money instead of Russell. And I don't know if Russell's just, doesn't have it anymore, if it's because he's on a new team, but he just does not look good.
It's just embarrassing that they spent they just gave him an extension to be paid $250 million only to not have him throw. They were on 4th and inches at one point in this game, and instead of doing a QB sneak, which is successful, I'd probably say 90% of the time, they decided to punt it, which is the Peyton's joke, obviously, is that the punter should have been paid that much money. I think it's partly due to, like, I think Russell is not what he used to be, maybe. I don't know, really.
Yeah.
Like, they're horribly coached. Nathaniel Hackett is way in over his head.
And the thing is, when you look at their offense, like, they have talent. Like, they have a pretty strong run game with Javonte Williams, who's been great, and Melvin Gordon when he's not fumbling the ball. Courtland Sutton's been Russell's number one target, and he's, when he's healthy, he's fantastic. But other than that, like, hasn't been getting Jerry Jeudy involved.
Nope.
Albert O hasn't been used at all.
Nope.
So they just don't have, like, they don't really have anyone.
Like, they have a lot of weapons, and it's just weird. Like, they started out, that was probably one of the single worst games I've ever watched in my life. I will not even BS you. That was one of the worst games ever. And it's just disappointing because you'd think now Jimmy G has an entire week to study the playbook and be the starter. He would look a little bit better. But of course, like, then he, is backed up on the 2, backs all the way into the end zone and steps on the line to save Dan Orlovsky as being the only other person to do that. And then throws it. And then to make it worse, before it's even called, throws a pick 6. Like, it was just, that was the epitome of, like, what that game ended up being. It was just
one of the more beautiful plays.
Yeah, honestly, like, Russell Wilson and the Broncos went 3 and out, I think, the first five plays.
Yeah.
Like, it was just such bad football. And stop giving it to Melvin Gordon when you have Javonte. Like, what are you doing? Another gross game to watch was the Packers and the Bucks. I don't know if you had a chance. I watched that game.
Yeah, I mean, you expect a shootout out of that one, 14-12. Like, what happened this week? People just didn't eat their Wheaties.
Yeah, God, I hate when that happens. It was ugly. I mean, Aaron Rodgers did not look incredible. They looked really dominant in the beginning of the game, and then it just kind of seemingly fell apart. The run game couldn't get going. Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon both did not play well.
Yeah,
that happens.
Like the same stat lines: 12 touches for 36, 32 yards each.
And that happens. Like, the Buccaneers have probably one of the best defensive lines, even without Akeem Hicks was out. They still have Vita Vea, who's a monster. Like, they have a very good defense.
Uncle Lenny promised touchdowns, and all he produced was 35 rushing yards.
He was horrendous too. And then I felt so bad for Brady watching him drive down the field with backup receivers, and then just to have one after the other drop them on, like, crucial plays, including Cole Beasley dropped a really important one too. I mean, it's hard to win a game when you have that happening constantly. So we'll see what happens when he gets some weapons back. Russell Gage looked decent. He also dropped a gimme at one point in that game. I don't know.
He got a lot of targets.
It was brutal. Romeo Doubs played pretty well, but, like, that again, like, Lazard had a touchdown, and Christian Watson will probably be back in next week, so we'll see how he play. He dropped a very easy one in week 2, I believe it was, on a 75-yard touchdown. Also dropped it.
Before we talk about our two teams. Let's just kind of go through each game, the rest of the games we haven't talked about, just highlighting the main things. Like the Panthers beat the Saints 22-14, and that was probably a pretty boring game to watch. I mean, Kamara didn't do anything. Michael Thomas got injured again.
Chris Olave played really well.
Chris Olave played pretty well. McCaffrey did okay. But Baker gets his first win as a Panther.
Here's a question for you. If you have DJ Moore in fantasy and or dynasty, what the hell do you do with him? He had one catch for I think 2 yards.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's taking him, but I'm trading him. I'm getting rid of him. I solely didn't draft him. As good as he is, the past, I don't know what his streak is, but he has like a very long streak every year of I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna look it up, but
it's like 1,300 yards, 4 touchdowns,
something like that.
It's something around there.
He's been in the league for 5 years,
and he's a stud receiver too. He really is. He's so good.
The past 3 years, he's had over 1,100
receiving yards. Okay.
But yeah, just going into the year, I was just like, I'm gonna stay away from him because I just don't trust that offense. I don't trust Baker. Rightfully so. But they get their win. They get the job done.
Christian McCaffrey's not even catching passes.
McCaffrey's been non-existent.
He's been great on the ground, but
yeah,
so weird.
In the Ravens game, Mac Jones gets hurt, so the Patriots are in a lot of trouble.
Oh, they're in. Did you know Brian Hoyer's first name was Axel?
I did not know that.
I know, right? That would have been a sick name. Axel Hoyer's coming in.
Anyway, this might be a hot take, but as of right now, for the MVP favorite, it's always a quarterback. You throw in Josh Allen, you throw in Jalen Hurts, but right now I think you have to give it to Lamar Jackson. He's been lights out.
And his price is going up and up and up.
Yeah.
They should have retained him when they had the chance. This is going to be tough for them to.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
I mean, he bet on himself, and there was a good chance that this was going to happen. He was really hurt last year. So, I mean, he's so good when he's not hurt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Mark Andrews is unreal, too.
Yeah, he's so good. In the Vikings game, which is kind of interesting, they won 28-24 over the Lions. That was a fun divisional game to watch because Dalvin finally played well.
And they got hurt.
Again, got hurt. DeAndre Swift got hurt. Yep. So the Lions are a good team. They just can't seem to muster up wins. And then your main man, Justin Jefferson, has just been kind of non-existent since week 1.
Yeah, they were triple teaming him. So guys are getting really open, like with KJ Osborne and Adam Thielen got his 50th touchdown, which is kind of cool. Yeah, like he only had 2 catches for like 14 yards, I think it was. Basically non-existent. They're gonna try to work him in more. I'm not really worried about it.
Should trade him,
but yeah. AJ Brown. Just kidding. I want the
Eagles.
I'm down. No, but yeah, I think he'll bounce back. But the Lions are a damn good team, really are. I love watching them. And Amon-Ra, I think, actually also got hurt in this game.
Yeah, Amon-Ra got hurt. He kind of was kept quiet.
So he's awesome. I love Amon-Ra.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens next week.
The Bears beat the Texans. Nobody watched that game, but the Bears got a win.
Dameon Pierce had a good game.
I think they're 2-1.
They are 2-1, and they're playing the Giants next week.
That's
so crazy. one of the Giants or the Bears will be 3-1.
Yeah,
imagine saying that. The Chargers, Jaguars.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that game, but the Rams beat the Cardinals, the Falcons beat the Seahawks. Pretty boring games.
Boring game. Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, what do you make of that Jaguars game? They're 2-1,
dude.
They're just such a very different team from last year, and it all has to do, in my opinion, just with coaching. Like, I'm not trying to hype up Dougie P because as much as I love him, he won us a Super Bowl. Like, he's really nothing special at this point. It's just he knows how to coach a football team. They look like they're well coached out there. Trevor just needed a new coach. Urban Meyer was just a distraction, and like the past 2 games, like if you look at the games that they've played, they've dominated the games that they've played in. Going into this Chargers game, we knew that Justin Herbert was battling the ribs injury, so questionable if they kind of rushed him back or not. But yeah, just like they shouldn't have lost to the Commanders in that Week 1 game. So if they get that win, they shut out the Colts in the following week. So they could technically be 3-0, which would be really funny. But still,
Yeah.
2-1 for them is pretty good. Trevor Lawrence just looked really solid in that game. 3 touchdown passes. That was kind of like the issues with last year, like with Urban Meyer not giving James Robinson the football, and they're giving him the football now, and he's playing really well for them. Just kind of spreading the ball around, like Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, all had touchdowns. Travis Etienne's been pretty quiet, but what do you make of the Chargers? Because obviously right now their story has just been injuries. Keenan Allen's been out. Now Justin Herbert's hurt, and they were my favorites to. I mean, it's still very early in the year, but they're my favorites to come out of the AFC, and it's not looking too good.
Yeah, it isn't looking too good. Their defense took a big hit. Joey Bosa got hurt and is going to be week to week with a groin injury. And Justin Herbert, man, they are so stupid for like what they were doing. Their management of him is so embarrassing. Like he is a once in a generation talent who has picked up this organization from nothing, and they decided to keep him out there with like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter and let him take more of a beating after losing his left tackle in a game that they were losing by like 20. What are you doing? It's just 28. They were losing by 28 and they had him out there. Like it's just crazy. He could barely move last week. Like it was, It's just embarrassing. Yeah, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They're a tricky team to deal with. J.C. Jackson, I think, is also hurt, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
From the Chargers side, like I'd be a little worried if I'm a Chargers fan. Obviously, there's time in the year. It's only week 3, and we're obviously reacting to what we know and have seen. But he needs to get healthy, and they should not have put him out there last week.
And it's just funny because you look at their schedule. Like they have a very easy schedule. Like they took care of the Raiders. Like barely lost to the Chiefs on that. That was a great Thursday night game.
Yeah, great game.
They lose to the Jaguars. They have the Texans next week, who they should beat, but like nothing's set in stone at this point.
Nope.
Then they play the Browns, who's a winnable game. They play the Broncos, which is a winnable game. They play the Seahawks, which is a winnable game. They play the Falcons, which is a winnable game. Like they have an easy schedule, but if you can't stay healthy, doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, you touched on this, but I mean, we need to give it up for James Robinson. What he has done coming off that Achilles injury is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He has made Travis Etienne irrelevant. Travis Etienne is a very explosive player, but James Robinson he's Himothy.
Everyone expected Etienne to be like a McCaffrey type player coming into this year.
Yeah.
He just hasn't really done a whole lot,
including myself. But
they play the Eagles next week. We're at home, and I want to say it'd be an easy win for us, but the Jaguars are looking good. So
yeah, I mean they were a dumpster fire last year with Urban Meyer, like you were saying. But
yeah,
so anything is better. I think Dougie P is actually a really good quarterbacks coach. He made the most out of Wentz, and Wentz is garbage.
He made Wentz an MVP type quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. And Trevor Lawrence, people often forget, was actually seen as like the most can't miss prospect since Andrew Luck. So I just feel like there's a lot in the tank for Trevor. His receivers are playing super well. Christian Kirk has played unbelievable this year so far, which somehow makes the signing look pretty solid, even though it was an atrocious contract. We'll see. And their defense is actually playing pretty well too.
Hot take. You think by next year the Giants should release Daniel Jones and sign Wentz and then bring Dougie P in as their new coach and see what happens? Thoughts?
Just to spice it up with the NFC East?
Yeah.
Well, then we'll take Shady McCoy out of retirement. We'll bring him in.
All the shit you gave Sam Henry and I for having Wentz over the years, and if you guys got him, it'd be nice.
That would be really funny. I mean, the Commanders. I guess this is a good segue to get into.
Yeah, great job, Jay.
Thank you. Because I think we talked about it every other game anyway.
Yeah, except our 2 games.
He's looked really good through the first 2 games, but I had a feeling it kind of had to do with their schedule. Carson Wentz always has like a couple games where he looks unreal. Like when he was a Colt, he looked amazing in a couple games, and then he doesn't. And when he doesn't, he really looks bad.
Yeah.
And there was a stat that the Eagles had like 300 passing yards, and the Commanders had, I think, -2 in the first half or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like the Eagles' defense is swarming. They
sacked Wentz. They sacked Wentz, I think, a record 9 times.
And look, the Commanders, for what it's worth, like they have very good pass catchers. And their O-line's not terrible. It's really not. But they went up against a very superior team and had no chance.
Forgetting that. Yeah, it was a very interesting game because A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith balled out in the second quarter.
Yeah.
But going into the fourth quarter, the score was 24-2, which was really funny. And then Gibson got a touchdown towards the end of the game, I think, but very dominant game by the Eagles.
So what do you make of everything that's happening with the Eagles? Obviously, it's probably hard to be objective considering you're a fan of the team, but it's hard to think that they're not going to push for the NFC Championship, probably based on how the first 3 games have gone and how dominant their team has been and how easy their schedule is. So why don't you talk on that?
Yeah, I tell a lot of people this who ask me this, and it's been a great start to the season. It's still very early, but a lot of season to go. Injuries happen, fluke games happen, so you never really know what's going to end up happening at the end of the year. I honestly, at the same time with the NFC, I was thinking about the other teams that are competitors, and I just you have the Packers who are there, but I just don't think they're much of a threat. I think it really just comes down to the Rams and the Bucks. The Vikings are good, but I just don't think they're a threat. We handled them pretty easily in week 2.
Yep.
So I think to get that first bye comes down to the Eagles, the Bucks, and the Rams. I think it'll be one of those 3 teams. And it's really just it's up for grabs for anyone. But doesn't matter how good the Eagles are. They have a lot of talent. Jalen Hurts has looked great. He's got 2 stud receivers. Our run game's been pretty decent, and our defense has been our best factor. Our defense has taken a big step forward from last year. But come playoff time, it doesn't matter if our record is 14-3. Come playoff time, all it takes is 1 game. And I'd be scared, even if we were home, I'd be scared to face Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp. I'd be scared to face Tom Brady again in the playoffs if all his receivers are healthy.
That's true. When they're healthy, that's a formidable team.
Be scared to face Aaron Rodgers. I know his offense isn't too scary, but come playoff time, anything could happen. Right now, things are looking really great for us, but we got a lot of football ahead. So trying to be realistic here, and it's still as great as Jalen Hurts has been. He's very mobile, and all it takes is 1 hit, and he's done. And then it's Minshew mania time. So
that's true.
We'll have to wait and see.
And honestly, A.J. Brown is a very injury-prone receiver in the past. So
did you read the story about how he almost played baseball?
I didn't know.
You didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
In the off season when he couldn't figure out, I guess, a contract with the Titans or whatever, he was contemplating having a workout for. I'm blanking on the team name. I'm looking it up, but it was an article I read. Let's see what they say. Padres. The Padres sent him an offer to come to training camp, spring training, and work out for them. and he was considering it until the draft when the Eagles wanted to trade for him and convinced him to stay. But he almost quit on football, which is pretty interesting. Yeah,
I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, look, that's really. I mean, that would have been crazy if that happened, but we've seen that almost happen with LeBron going to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
during the lockout.
Yeah, and then the wrap up this week before we take a look at next week. If you want to talk about your Giants, and all I'm going to say, and then I'll give you the floor, is if you're going to take any positive out from it, the only positive I could really find is that Saquon's back. Other than that, just not a whole lot to be happy about as a Giants fan.
So I'll go over both. So the game itself was not very interesting, which is we probably could have seen coming based on the fact that it's Cooper Rush v. Daniel Jones. But I'll say this. So from the Giants side, I'll say both offense and defense. Offense, our entire team runs through Saquon. Saquon is absolutely back. He's looking so good. Also, Saquon is so hard to not love. Like, I feel like universally, he's just such a lovable dude. Besides from Saquon, our run game is really pathetic. So he's going to be out there a lot. And our offensive line is also pathetic. Our offensive line gave the most pressures ever, I think it was, to a quarterback in a game. Or maybe, I think it was ever. It was 23 pressures. It was so crazy. Daniel Jones, and I am not a big Daniel Jones fan. Even since he was drafted, I have not liked him. He played unbelievably. He played unbelievably well for the circumstances he was in last night. It wouldn't show up. The issue with looking at just a box, it wouldn't show up in the box score. He had probably 3 different plays that were 20 plus that were all taken away via penalty. But he scrambled for I think he had 81 yards or 70 something yards. He had 79 yards rushing. He really looked very good yesterday for what he had. Losing Sterling Shepard is gonna hurt. The very last play of the game to a non-contact ACL tear on his left knee, which is the same one as the Achilles. That sucks. I love Shepard. He's the heart and soul of this team. I don't know what the hell we're going to do on receivers because Galladay looked – after saying they paid me to play me and then gets out there and on a crucial third down, it goes right through his hands. He looked so bad. And he looks like a statue when he's running. It's pathetic. Richie James looked good, I guess, as a positive.
The sad thing about it is Danny Dimes didn't look that bad.
No, he looked great for what he was given yesterday.
Yeah.
He looked awesome. It wouldn't show up in the score and the stat sheet based on his completion percentage and the fact that he threw an interception, which also was not his fault because the receiver fell on the very last play. It looks a lot different than it was if you watched. He played really well.
Yeah, I mean, other than CeeDee Lamb, you guys contained the Cowboys.
I think this is actually the number. So he got hit 27 times, or maybe pressured, and 5 sacks. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's a bad O line.
Yeah, it was bad. And our rookie tackle Evan Neal gave up 3 sacks on his own to DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah.
Dexter McCluster.
Also, why can't I think of his name? Linebacker from Penn State. Cowboys. Starts with an M. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a freaking animal. Yeah. He bulldozed over our left or our right guard like he was not even there. And Glowinski is a solid guard. So that was he's a monster.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs did what Trayvon Diggs does, which is go for balls. He either gets it or he doesn't. So he gave up a ton of yards, as he always does. And he had that lucky interception at the very end because the receiver fell.
I on the that CeeDee Lamb drive.
Which
He
one?
went from the touchdown drive. He went
Okay.
from 10 fantasy points to 23 in that one drive because
Yes.
they hit him like 4 times. And once they were first and goal, I was telling my roommate, I was talking to him because he's a big Giants fan. I was like, they just hit CeeDee Lamb 3 plays in a row or 4 plays in a row. He's all by himself right now on the goal line. They're going to give him some kind of fade route.
Yep.
And obviously he made that unreal one-handed catch, but like,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get how the Giants don't read that and why they're not giving him the safety help to
Yeah.
prevent that from happening.
Yeah. I wish I could tell you. I mean,
You gotta.
Adoree Jackson's played really well this year in man-to-man coverage. So I guess they were letting him take a chance.
Take a
'Cause
chance,
the
take a
other
chance, take a chance.
take a chance on me. I think we've sung that like many times. Anyway, so I think that's what it was. But there was that one play where it was a broken play, broken coverage, and CD was butt naked, wide open, and dropped it. It went right through his hands, which would have been the easiest touchdown. Probably would have been a 58-yard touchdown.
So next week, and we'll to wrap this show up, we'll go through next week's games real quick. So let's just start off with that one because we're talking about your Giants. What do the Giants need to do differently at home to beat the Bears? A very, very winnable game.
We're gonna have to figure out our receiving core. I think that's number one. Like, I really don't know what they're gonna do. They do run a lot of like 3 personnel, sometimes 4 wide receivers sets. You can't have Saquon chipping on every single play because he's literally our best player and our best weapon. If you continue to do that, we will continue to not have anyone to throw to. I think they're going to have to strongly look at guys who are on practice squads, guys who are like Cole Beasley, if he's not elevated to the active roster, sign him. Like, we just need players. Give Will Fuller a chance. Am I right? Love Will Fuller. I don't know.
It's just a shame because the Giants are like one good receiver away from being a contending team, and they thought that was going to be Kenny Galladay, and that was just one of the biggest swing and a misses.
Oh yeah, that one hurts.
Maybe DJ Moore. I mean, the Panthers wouldn't give him up. But
yeah, like, they don't even use him. So
look for a trade.
I'll say in terms of the Bears game, like objectively as a Giants fan, some people say like, wouldn't you rather them lose every game than you get a high draft pick? Like, no, I've already done that like every single year. I want to see them compete. And if they lose, they lose. But I mean, with the personnel that they have, even the fact that they beat the Titans at all, and sure, they lost to a Cowboys team with Cooper Rush, but they also beat the Bengals. Like, I'm very encouraged of what I see from the team. So when they actually have good personnel that they can put in there, you know, the team might look a little different. It was also the first game back with Kayvon Thibodeau and Aziz Ojolari, and they were both on pitch counts. So, you know, as they get more integrated back in the offense and we get Leonard Williams back, like, or defense rather, it could look a little bit different. I think they could. The Bears are a very winnable game. That's like, they should beat the Bears. Yeah, I don't really know. I think Daniel Jones, like I said, played a great game last game. He just needs to keep doing what he was doing. Like, he didn't make any errors, actually. He held on to the ball. He threw it away when he was supposed to. Like, he played really well. It's just going to be who steps up outside of Saquon.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's go through all these games real quick.
Yeah.
We'll go one by one and just tell me, you give me your opinion, I'll give you mine. Tell me who you think's going to win. Starting off with Thursday night, Dolphins at Bengals. Who do you got?
Depends on Tua's health. I think that if Tua, I just saw that he's questionable. If he is healthy, I think the Dolphins should win this. Not by much, because I think the Bengals in their white unis are coming out for vengeance. You know what? I'll say the Bengals should win.
Okay. Well, I think.
Wait, they're -4. Are they supposed to win?
Yeah. Well, I think because they're home and because of that quarterback situation. But to be
Maybe.
honest with you, I think regardless of who the quarterback is, if it's Tua or Teddy Bridgewater, I think the Dolphins win this game, remain undefeated. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one.
Okay.
Then we fly over to London, where the Vikings take on the Saints. Who do you have in that one?
I'm going to take the Vikings.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It kind of depends, like, if Kamara is able to get it going, if Michael Thomas is going to play or not. Jameis Winston has not looked good. Justin Jefferson is going to do a little tea and biscuits gritty. Give me the Vikings in that one. Seahawks at Lions. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, but you never know who could pull that one out.
I would say the Lions should kill them.
Yeah,
you would think, but Geno's played decent.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jets and Steelers. Like, you'd want to say Steelers in that one, but you really just don't know.
That's an atrocious game.
Yeah,
I would not want to watch that. I think Zach Wilson's supposed to be back. I'd still think the Steelers will win.
Talk about another atrocious game. Bears and Giants. Who do you have in that one?
That is an atrocious game. I don't even want to watch it, but I will. I'm going to say Giants.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Giants will win that one too.
It also depends. Kadarius Toney, I forgot to mention this. Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale should hopefully get healthy soon, and that could make the difference.
Mm-hmm. Titans at Colts. That's an interesting one. Yeah, because the Colts stink, but they won last week over the Chiefs. They got the momentum going. I'm going to go Titans in this one. I would like another big game out of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor going at it. I think the Titans will prevail.
That's a really tough game. So the Colts are favored. I kind of think the Titans will win this game too. I just don't know who is DeForest Buckner hurt or is he playing? Do we know?
I think he's
the only way that they stopped Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I think he was listed as questionable. I'm not sure. Probably it would be a game time decision, but we'll have to see. Chargers Texans. I mean, that's another one. It's like you really just can't pick because the Texans haven't looked bad, even though they're not a good team. And you'd think the Chargers would spank them, but Justin Herbert, I don't know if he's going to play or not. Who's their backup quarterback? What's his name? Chase Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, I should beat them, but you never know.
I think, if they're dumb enough to keep him out there for when they were down 28 and it didn't matter, I think he'll play this game too.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers will win. I don't think it'll be as much of a runaway game though.
I agree.
What do you think of the Browns Falcons? That's a gross game.
Yeah, another just poopy game.
That's so gross.
I really don't know because the Falcons haven't looked too bad.
They haven't. Mariota's played well, dude.
Yeah, Mariota has played pretty well. They're 1-2, but they're not a bad team.
They should have beaten the Saints though, and then they would have been.
I just think their run game is just going to be too much for the Falcons. I think the Browns will pull it out.
I think the Falcons. I'm going to say the Falcons win that game.
Okay. Commanders Cowboys, another gross game.
I think Cowboys will win that.
Yeah, I think they will too, just with how bad the Commanders have looked. But you never know.
Cowboys defense is swarming.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Eagles Jags
Ravens. Oh, you want to go to the Eagles game? Eagles Jags. I'm inclined to say the Eagles, but the Jaguars have played really well. I'll still say the Eagles. I think Eagles at home are tough. I don't think the 6.5 lot. I don't think that'll clear.
Could. We'll have to see.
Over under.
I agree with you on that.
Bills
Ravens. That's probably the game of the week.
That's definitely probably one of the games of the week. Yeah. 51.5 over under is huge. That's a toughie.
Yeah, I think I'm going Bills on this one, but I think it's going to be a shootout.
I think it'll be a shootout too. The Bills have had issues with defense because they lost a few players and Micah Hyde's out for the year, which is a huge, huge L.
Yeah.
They still don't have Trey White.
Tre'Davious White.
They're apparently bringing in Xavier Rhodes, which would be a huge upgrade at corner, just as for a visit. It's still. I'm gonna say the Bills. I just don't know how they lose many games. Like they probably shouldn't have lost the Dolphins game.
Yeah, Josh Allen is pissed. They're gonna bounce back, I think.
Yeah,
But
they're such a good
anyone's
team.
game. Cardinals Panthers. I mean, you'd think the Cardinals will win that, but
They looked so bad.
they're
Though.
just not good this year.
Oh my god, I can't believe how bad that they are.
It's a bad division, NFC West.
I know. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
I'm still gonna say the Cardinals, but I don't think it's by much.
Yeah. And then this next game is going to be a fun one to watch because Broncos Raiders, are they both? Well, the Broncos are 1-2 and the Raiders are 0-3. Like the Raiders need to win. They're at home. The Broncos are not looking good. I think I have to go with the Raiders in this one. They're desperate for a win, Jay. They're desperate.
Desperate.
They need it.
I need it. Yeah, I guess I'll. You know what? No, I'm gonna go against the grain. Let's ride.
Packers Patriots. I think the Packers should win that one pretty easily, especially because no Mac Jones.
That'll be so bad. That's gonna. Oh my god, that game is gonna be terrible. Chiefs Bucks.
Sunday Night Football. That's exciting.
Who you got? Let's do 2 scenarios because we don't know the answers to this yet. Who you got if Mike Evans and Julio play? Who you got if Mike Evans, Julio, and Godwin play? Does anything?
I think
change?
Regardless of who plays, the Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah,
I think it's a big bounce back game for the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes has memories from that Super Bowl loss. The Bucs just didn't look scary last week. Obviously, they were missing their receivers, but I think Mahomes is just going to come out and have a big game. Show Brady who's boss.
Who's daddy.
And then Monday Night Football, 49ers Rams. I mean, you'd think the Rams will step all over them, but the 49ers could bounce back, though, and have a good game. So
yeah,
I think it'll be a close one.
Again, like the 49ers looked so good in the first few drives and then poo-pooed everywhere.
Poo-poo-chewed.
And the Rams are a damn good defense, so that like similar to the Broncos, but I mean, Matt Stafford has not been amazing this year. Their offense looks so, dude. Allen Robinson's been so garbage.
Yeah.
They paid him so much money. I'm gonna still take the Rams.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think the Niners can keep up.
Yeah. Well, another exciting week 4 coming up, Jay. I'm excited to come up and watch with you. And you guys don't. You guys don't. You only have the one TV, right? So I should probably.
No.
You have 2 TVs out there.
We have the one big TV, and then I'm gonna have what I do. I guess you visited my old apartment, no? Of like what I used to do.
Oh yeah, right. You have the
small TV.
Little TV, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll set up my computer with another game on that.
Cool.
So we'll be chilling.
Sounds good, buddy. Looking forward to it.
3 games. We'll watch the Giants. We'll watch. They're the Eagles at 1 too. Oh, here comes the first fight of the year between me and Henry. Oh no, the Jets will probably get the 1 o'clock spot since they're on CBS.
Yeah.
So, as it should be, we'll watch the Giants, the Eagles, and then they. Oh yeah, okay. I don't know. Oh, the Bills. Putting on my computer. That's probably what we'll watch. That'll be a cool game.
Sounds good. Well, let's put a bow on this one. Episode 30. Okay. Chef Curry. Make sure to like and subscribe. Be safe. Be sexy.
I was gonna say, don't talk to strangers or do.
JumpStart Sports.